Hello, students of Barnhill. Thank you so much for the opportunity to chat with you. My name is Nicholas Pereira, and I am the People's Party of Canada candidate for St. John Rosse riding. I know, I'm the only one cheering on right now. Anyways, I want to have a little bit of fun and talk to you why it's important, why I got involved, and why I'm encouraging you to pay attention to politics. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Our party is very different than what you're going to hear from the other parties when it comes to what we want to do with Canada. We built our party on 4 basic principles, which are freedom of choice, so freedom, personal responsibility, fairness, and respect. Now, every politician says they'll be fair and respectful, and whether they are or not, we'll see. But I want to talk to you really about freedom and personal responsibility. I'm going to give you, I'm 36 years old. So I first got the home internet when I was already in grade 9, but I'm young enough to know how powerful the internet and information is. And I'm telling you, you are in an interesting time because you have so much information at your fingertips, and you're better with the internet than the older folks. Let's just be real, right? Like, you're just better, right? And you understand that. See, while most of the older folks, they only go to one source of information, you understand that there's actually tons of sources of information. So you can find independent media and news. You can find TikTokers or YouTubers or people on Instagram, influencers that you can get information from, and you know better than anyone that you can always find conflicting information. What's really powerful about this is that if you decide to get involved in politics, which I encourage you to do, get informed, it's one of my biggest regrets. I personally don't like the way the country's going. I think that we're being divided into all of these different type of identity groups, when I really believe we should keep a strong national identity. I'm an immigrant. I came here in 1988. My family came here from Brazil. And you know what? I am Canadian though. Like, I'm not anything else. I'm Canadian. Now, I'm from South America, so I bring the South American flavor to Canada. And that's healthy multiculturalism, which is what we want as the People's Party of Canada. But what we don't want is that we lose our national identity. Justin Trudeau is saying that we're a post-national state, that Canada doesn't really have its own identity. I don't believe that. I don't feel that way. I don't know if you do. I hope you don't. I hope you're proud of this country, that you have pride for this country, that you learn about the rich history, the sacrifices that were made by, our great-grandfathers who fought for freedom and personal responsibility and respect. We are a welcoming and warm country, but some other parties may say that we're not, or that we have a lot of systemic racism, and that we have, that inclusion issues. I'm telling you, as an immigrant, as a brown dude, right? As clearly who's not maybe necessarily you could tell I'm from away, right? Is that I've lived in Calgary, I've lived in Toronto, I've traveled this country coast to coast. I was actually a rapper when I was in my early 20s named Token. And I'll tell you, I've met people from all walks of life across Canada, and they're beautiful and they're welcoming and they're warm. And I've never experienced those type of things. I'm saying this to you because it's a challenge. I'm challenging, and the People's Party of Canada, we're not a popular party right now, truthfully, because we're challenging where our country's going. We're challenging the mainstream narrative. And that's why I brought up the point about the internet. You have the opportunity to do your own research because you know how to better than the older generations. You know how to look at different points of view. You know how to see outside of just one narrative. And if I can encourage anything from you when you get involved, or if you decide to really take this seriously and learn more about politics, is that you do your own research and you listen to conflicting ideas. So don't just listen to me, listen to the other candidates, and then follow us and connect with us and listen to influencers and listen to other folks. Then most importantly, listen to yourself, your heart, and your families too. We live in a very tumultuous time, meaning there's a lot of turbulence going on right now. There's a lot of unsettledness. We're dealing with a pandemic, with social issues. We have housing challenges. There's so many challenges, but that's life. We have to take responsibility. And you know what responsibility means? The ability to respond. And you have the ability to respond. You know, I'll tell you, I started my first business when I was 17 years old in high school. By the time I was 13 years old, I was a sponsored breakdancer. I've always done things my own way. It's just a little bit of who I am. And I've always encouraged others to discover themselves and do things their way. And a People's Party of Canada candidate like myself, representing you as in the House of Commons, as a member of Parliament, I would fight for your freedom to be yourself, to be Canadian, and then have your own personal identity and expression. And if we keep a strong Canadian identity and we learn about our history and we sing our national anthem with pride and with power and conviction, then everybody can still be who they are as individuals, and we can have what's called unity in diversity. And that's healthy multiculturalism, and that's a healthy way of keeping our country strong. Look, I can chat and ramble all day long. I think that you're a really smart and enlightened generation, and I'm excited to see what you do with the world. It is your world. You're the future. Own it now. Take responsibility now. And remember that you are free to be who you want and to be who you are in this world without anyone telling you that you can't be that way. Nobody's ever going to tell that if a People's Party of Canada candidate is elected. But if not, you'll see that we're being divided into individual groups instead of keeping a strong unity focus. Look, I went to high school in Brampton, Ontario, and I went to a school with about 3,000 kids of all different races and religions and sexual orientations, and we got along, and we were fine. And never, at my time, there was never an age where we had to prop up one group over another, because we all understood we were all students of the same school. And we interacted as individuals. That's called unity in diversity. Now let's take that at a bigger level and say, hey, let's do that with our country. Let's first of all recognize we're all Canadian. And then we can have our individual identities. And that will keep us together, it'll keep us strong, and it'll keep us prosperous. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you.